Hey peeps, welcome back to my channel. It is another Saturday and I'm here with a very brief video to give you one of my biggest hints on writing. And this is primarily for intuitive writers, but I think any writer can use it because it's just so damned helpful. And so if you're interested in that, why don't you stick around? Pull up a chair. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'm working on getting up my subscriptions and I would appreciate it. And give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And we will be right back in a moment to discuss writing. When I wrote The Mysteries from Berkeley, they made me outline. It was traumatic. I don't outline as a matter of course. It made the books feel stilted, and I'm talking about the Chintz and China series and the Bath and Body series, 2 mystery series. They made me outline every book for them, and it was an extensive outline. And I hated working to it because things changed. Things just changed as I wrote, and I knew that I wasn't an outliner. I wasn't a plotter. I had never plotted books before that, my books in the closet, so to speak. It was difficult. Thank God things changed when I sold the sister series, the Otherworld series. I sent them a sample chapter, and I sent them a page-long synopsis of what I kind of thought the series might be about. They bought it on that, which is unusual. And I was ever so grateful. So basically, they told me, we have no idea what this is going to be, but write the first book and we'll figure out what to do with it after you write it. And so I did. I did figure out, though, very quickly that I needed to make sure that I knew what was going on in my books, because it's so easy to get lost when you're writing. It's so easy to forget little thread lines you start. It really is. And even if you go back, even when you go back to edit through it, it's easy to miss those. So I developed something I called the reverse outline, and I've been using it ever since. Now, I suppose other people have developed this too for themselves. Maybe they call it something different. But in my case, I figured this out for myself, and it turned into a lifesaver. And I'm going to show you what I do to keep track of what I'm doing in the books, of what I'm writing in the books, of the plot lines that are starting in the books. So I will be sharing my screen. Basically, though, the reverse outline is just a bullet list of what you have written in the prior chapter. And about every 2 chapters, I stop and I go back and I fill out my reverse outline. And I highlight the threads that need to be addressed that I still haven't dealt with. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen so you can see one of my reverse outlines. Now, this is the one from Sunbroken from the Wild Hunt series. It hasn't been many years, but many months, many releases ago. A lot of releases ago, since I'm so prolific. Okay, so here we are. At the top, I put reverse outline and the book title that I'm working on, because I keep these in case I need to look back through them later. And I always start on the day the book starts, and sometimes that's an arbitrary date. This series, or this book, took place in April, as you can see. And I started on April 22nd, which was a Wednesday. There is a fantabulous site that will create a calendar for you with the sunrise and sunset, with the moon phases, if you like. It's just very helpful. I will link that in the description below. I always print out a calendar from there for the year I'm working in the book, the in-book year that I'm working in. So in this case, April 22nd was on a Wednesday, and it was the new moon. And sunrise was 6:07, sunset 8:08 p.m. And this is very important because if you are writing vampires, you need to know when the sun comes up and the sun goes down, unless you are drastically revamping the way vampires are seen in terms of not being able to walk out in the sunlight. In my case, vampires cannot go out in the sunlight, so you can see, yeah, sunset. All vampires have to be inside by that time, and it's very handy to keep your sense of where you're at as well in the day. And then I go through the manuscript, I go through the chapter, and I write the highlights of what's happened in that chapter. Her and Ember are out in the woods looking for evidence of unnatural forces stirring. Ember talks to a water elemental. There have been reports from the other hunt agencies that activity with the dead has been on the rise. They have sex in the park scene. And my sex scenes, I always just put sex scene or sex in the park scene or sex in the shower scene. Ember's intro, that's backstory I often will use instead of intro. And that just tells me that I have introduced Ember at that point or whatever character I am dealing with. They shower and gear up for the day with no sleep. Ember senses a dark storm on the horizon. And I highlighted that because that is the prescience, precognition for the book. And then I will do chapter 2. They arrive at work. Oh, here. In the break room, Talia admits she's dating a new man. He's independently healthy and owns a multi-million-dollar baby food company. So Talia is dating someone new there, and that's something I'm going to want to keep an eye on. Also, the deputy mayor arrives. She tells them the mayor wants their help on a serial killer case that's targeting members of the Magic Born. So you can see I go through each chapter and highlight everything as I go that needs addressed. I print out my reverse outline every couple chapters. As I go along, if something comes up that needs a foreshadowing that I haven't addressed before, I will go over and in my printed out copy on my desk, I will jot in on the chapter that I think the foreshadowing should come in, put foreshadowing for XX event. That way, when I go back and revise, I have all these notes on my reverse outline that I can address, and I don't have to go hunting through the manuscript for what I need to revise or for what I need to add in. It makes life much easier. I also have another little tip for you, and that involves another handout. So I'm sharing my screen again. What you are seeing here is a planner printable that I bought. I will leave the Etsy shop name that I bought it from below in the details. I print these out and I fill them out and I use them as I am writing so I can keep track of what the characters are doing. I may write, for instance, I may write like at 11 a.m. January is at work and gets a call from Rowan about the demon, something like that. And that way I can also keep track if someone makes an appointment, like say January makes an appointment to see Rowan on Friday and it's Wednesday. I'll put over here 9 a.m. January and Rowan meet to discuss XXX. And that keeps me on track when I'm writing too. It makes it so much easier and I don't lose track of things that they've agreed to do. It works in conjunction with my reverse outline. Those two printouts, my reverse outline and the hourly schedule, it's like keeping a planner for my characters. They help me avoid losing track of situations. There are a few times that I did not do this in, and I made mistakes and it showed in the books. Thank God's an indie, we can go back and correct things in later editions. I don't know. There have been a few mistakes that even the reverse outline wouldn't have helped because I carried a mistake from one book into another. like in the Fury series, in book 4, a character dies, and in book 5, the character is alive again. And it was just my bad, my mistake. For some reason, I thought he had managed to make it out, and I didn't go look it up. So if you have questions on in a previous book, did I say this? You might want to go take a look. That's another reason I buy all my own books on Kindle, because I can use the Kindle app on my computer and I can go through and say, oh, wait, did I say this in that book? And I can go look for it because Kindle apps have a search feature and I love that. Or a lot of times I will, send my VA, Jen, a message going, can you check and see if January said this to Rowan at any one point about a certain car or something? And she will always come through for me. But I can still do it myself if she's not available. So I hope that the idea of a reverse outline works for you and also keeping a planner for your characters. It sure helps me a lot. And as an intuitive writer, anything to keep me on track can help. And it doesn't interfere with my process. It takes a little bit of extra time, but it saves so much more time when you are editing, revising, or just even trying to remember something earlier in the manuscript. So that's what I've got for you today, peeps. And oh, let's see, what else? Anything interesting? Well, I hope you loved Tattered Thorns. It came out on time. Yay, finally. I'm making great progress with Weaver's Web. I should have it to my editor by next week. Now, I have taken the novella that I wrote for Age to Perfection, which is no longer available, and I have written a book around it. So it will have the novella in it. So those of you who never got to read it will get to read it, but it will also have a longer adventure with it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments, what do you do to help you keep on track with your writing or whatever art that you do? Or if you create music, what do you do to help keep yourself on track? And I will talk to you later. And I hope you have a marvelous week. And yeah, see you later. Bye.